This is Brian Drummond here, the OG voice of Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z, and you're watching Anime Secrets. It's over 9,000!
Toku Secrets is a podcast run by the Anime Secrets website. Check us out at animesecrets.org for more anime, video game, tokusatsu content. Remember to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts today.
Oh, yes! This is Goldar, and you're listening to Toku Secrets Podcast. Don't tune us out, tune us in.
Welcome to Toku Secrets. Join us as we journey into the marvelous world of Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Power Rangers, and many other tokusatsu. Get ready for the adventure of a lifetime. It's Morphin time! Link to the Morphin Quest. I'm Nathan Desai, the dazzling adventurer, Smokin' Silver.
I'm Patrick Allen, I'm Shinken Red.
And I'm Rizwan Merchant, Gokai Red.
And I'm Anthony Davis, also known as Curie Green. And we're Toku Secrets.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Toku Secrets Podcast, presented by animesecrets.org. And today we are doing episode number 4 of Mahou Sentai Magiranger, where we take a look at stages 16 through 20. We got a lot of stuff happening here. We got just to kind of preview, we got a big villain change coming up, and at the very end, we're going to see our 6th Ranger debut. So unlike the last batch, last 2 batches, which were relatively tame with a little bit of a story sprinkled in, this time we got a lot of story to break in here. So yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of fun in this batch, because this is where stuff is going to get really good. But of course, before we get started, let's briefly recap what happened in our previous batch. The big thing that happened was that we had a 2-part episode where Hoka got turned into a vampire by Vancuria, and she was basically forced to do Vancuria's bidding. And Tsubasa was able to free her by killing Vancuria with a Dawn Crystal. But then Vancuria, she's immortal, so she revived herself. Now, because the Magirangers had formed a powerful bond, they grew stronger, and for the first time, they were able to defeat Wolzard with Magi King, and that resulted in Bronkin unleashing 3 powerful Hades beasts to find the gate key. We had a brief thing where the Magirangers got a power-up form called Magi Punch, which allows them to summon boxing gloves. And they defeated those 3 powerful Hades beasts, but unfortunately, Vancuria has found the gate key, and that leads us into our first episode. Where so basically, right here, guys, we have a 3-part episode followed by a bit flimsily connected. It's still ultimately a 2-part episode. So yeah, we're going to start off with the 3-parter here, called The Gate's Key, Uzara Ugaru. What happens is that, so when the episode opens up, Nai and Mare attack this woman who we saw at the end of the previous episode, because they believe her to be the person who has the gate key. And then they merge together to attack her as Vancuria, and the Magirangers learn that she is the key to the door when they arrive to protect her. And then Kai finds the woman, who's not really much for talking, and she's humming this tune from Magitopia. It's the same one that Miyuki used to sing, and she has no memory of her past. So Kai names her Rin. That's her name just because of this bell that's ringing that's on her bracelet, and she's afraid of regaining her memory. Kai believes that she must have a very painful past, and eventually, Rin decides, after some encouragement from Kai, that she needs to restore her memory. So she uses this potion that Tsubasa made to regain her memory. And while this is happening, Vancuria ambushes the Magirangers, and Rin suddenly transforms from the moon, because lo and behold, it turns out, guys, that Ren is one of the Heavenly Saints. In this case, Lunagel, a Heaven Saint with moon-based powers. And Lunagel helps the Magi Rangers drive Vancuria off. And the Magi Rangers are all like, oh, cool, there's this Heaven Saint. Like, the some of the most powerful people from Magitopia, we got them help, and this is awesome. And but then Lunagel, she tells the Magi Rangers that they are naive and they're weak and they can't defeat inversions. So yeah, she went from being a timid, cute little woman to now all of a sudden being this absolute strict for just complete mean person. So yeah, what do we think about stage 16?
What did Bolzard, your enhancements just gave them a Gatling gun? What's that about?
Oh, when you gave Vancuria the yeah, that was a little wacky.
They're like, I'm going to enhance, and it just cuts them with a crossbow and a Gatling gun. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's a little wacky
But
for my liking.
I think the episode, it's good, but because it's the first part of a multi-parter, it's kind of hard to judge it on its own merits. But
yeah,
I do like how they stretched kind of the mystery over who this person is over the span of the episode, and they did it in a pretty good way. To where the reveal at the end was actually kind of like, it actually caught me off guard a little bit.
yeah, but it also still feels like just revealing her to be a Heaven Saint is earned, because I really appreciate how they established what the Heaven Saints were already, so instead of just having this be like this new concept that they're pulling out of nowhere, because they established what the Heaven Saints are in the second episode. So just from hearing that name alone, you're kind of realizing like, oh wow, this is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, so hearing it was a Heavenly Saint, you're like, oh shoot, this is big league stuff we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it though. I mean, I think I liked the character to begin with a lot. I thought she was a really fun, interesting character with the amnesia and all. I'm gonna second Patrick's Gatling gun question for Vancuria. Why does he need that? But you know what? Wacky Sentai does wacky Sentai stuff.
Yeah.
I also am pleasantly surprised because I was assuming that we would probably not get the Claire equivalent in Magiranger, and maybe Claire is an American unique thing, but
yeah,
no, this comes later.
Yeah. I mean, okay, well, I'll give my thoughts on like how this is versus the Claire concept and when we get to the end of his three-parter. But yeah, she's here. It's just done in a completely different context.
I
Anthony,
also like that she has like powers and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and mystical background. So it makes her more unique.
Yeah. Anthony, did you want to add anything?
I was a little confused as to why they gave Nightmare like these Gatlings and like these crossbows.
Yeah.
I was wondering why they just didn't give, because I think Mystic Force did a better job of showcasing like what like Necroli getting like the upgrade in that better. Honestly, it wasn't much. It was just like a few arm claws and stuff. But I mean, it worked.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this episode, I really liked it. I really especially liked how it gave Kai some time to shine, because you know he helps Rin overcome her fear of regaining her memory. So pretty simple stuff. So I think it's justifiable to at least give this an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can go with an 8.
Yeah, I'll go to 8 too.
Cool. All right, let's move on to stage 17. Tenderness isn't needed. Uza, Doza, Uru, Ugaru. Where so when we open it up, Walzard is absorbing more dark magic. You know, he's declaring that the surface world is gonna soon fall. While the Maji Rangers are confronting Rin, she criticizes Kai because he didn't force her to take the potion earlier. You know, when he really should have. You know, claiming that he's too soft. The Maji Rangers are too soft. And we find out that the Maji Rangers' father's name is Bla- uh, Blagel. So he's like a fire-based ancient mystic. And they also learn about Inma in this episode because they've never known about him. And we get a little bit of exposition here where during the original fight against Inversia 15 years ago, Inma created the Hades Gate. It was a way for him to easily enter the surface world, but then Blagel charged in and he was trapped inside while Lunagel sealed away the Hades Gate, and she placed a spell on herself to make her the key to Hades Gate. Um, and we learn about another heavenly saint named Rigel, who basically he's basically the equivalent of a fallen angel here. So basically, like the devil. He tried to kill her in order to undo the seal, and that's when she lost her memory. So and then Wolzard, of course, he needs to kill Lunagel so that he can undo the seal on the gate. He challenges Lunagel to battle. Lunagel, when she hears that Wolzard is capable of using magic, she believes him to be Rigel, and she decides to take up this challenge. She traps the Maji Rangers in another dimension so that they can't get in her way because she thinks that they're too weak. Which a fun little thing about this. I always remember this because I remember seeing this early promo when Mystic Force was getting ready to air. The footage of the untransformed Maji Rangers being sucked into that portal was frequently used for like an early Gen X promo.
I
And
remember that.
yeah, I always love. I always think watching early promos to see if they have like untransformed Sentai people there because they once had a trailer for Power Rangers Time Force at the beginning of some Digimon VHS tape, and
Mhm.
they use a lot of untransformed Time Ranger footage in there. Like when you see Dilmon, ISA Shion, and Yuri's faces in it, it's just kind of hilarious. Um, but yeah, so Lunagel confronts Wolzard herself, and she takes on her Heavenly Saint form. That was Claire's gatekeeper form, if you've watched Mystic Force. And but she gets overpowered and defeated. While the Majin Rangers, they find themselves facing a trial where they'll have to sacrifice someone in order to escape, as a test to throw away their gentle nature. But they're able to ultimately overcome that. Kai charges at the lever to open it up, and then everybody is able to escape just in time. And they stop Wolfsong from killing Lunagel. But then, unfortunately, the bell on Lunagel's bracelet breaks, and that causes the Hades Gate to be unleashed, and a gargoyle Hades beast is unleashed as Wolzard arrives. He captures Lunagel, and the episode ends as the Magi Rangers try to fight off the gargoyle monster, but unfortunately, Ronkin starts to break through the Hades gate. All right, what do we think about stage 17?
Um, I don't know. Out of the 3 episodes of this 3-parter, this is the one that I'm not really sold on. Because I think the whole thing of them getting out of that magic room or whatever was very shallow. I don't know if that was just me, but it felt like they just kind of got out.
Well, basically, what the intended thing was that she was just trying to stall them, so that way when like she's like, "Hey, y'all stay here. I'm gonna deal with the threat, and then I'll may let you out when I get back, or you figure out yourselves, whichever comes first."
They needed to make that more clear because that whole plot point was just it didn't feel like it did anything.
I feel like the point was, and they probably could have emphasized this a little bit more. The point was that he wanted to put them in a position where they would have to sacrifice someone because like somebody has to stay trapped in the dimension to hold the lever open while they escape, but they just found a way to get out. Now I feel like they could have emphasized more like how they were able to overcome that in a more like clever type of way. But ultimately I think the message was just that like we can accomplish what you want to accomplish through the gel, but we don't have to be like strict and willing to make sacrifices just to do it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think would have.
I mean that's fair. At the same time, it felt like it wasn't the focus either, and I think that made it
Yeah.
not come across as clear as it should have, because this was meant to be like a character moment for them as a team, but they prioritized the fight between her and Woolzard.
Yeah, I think that
So
if they gave just a little bit more focus to what the Magirangers did and just kind of made the Lunagel Wolzard fight a little bit more of an afterthought, it might have worked just a little bit better.
yeah,
I mean, I'll give this episode a little bit of credit that it tried to give the Magirangers focus because as much as I love that, as much as I love the Mystic Force episode, I really do because it's like peak Claire, and I mean everybody knows that we love Claire here.
Yeah,
mhm.
The one problem with that episode is that's a clear episode. Like the Rangers themselves don't really do that much for that episode until the end, so we can appreciate this trying to keep the focus on the Magi Rangers and not have this be definitively a Lunagel episode. But they probably could have done it just a tiny bit better, and it would have been perfect. Riz, did you want to chime in with anything?
Yeah, I can see the points here, and I think I tend to agree. Um, to me, it also just seemed like we should have, like you guys were saying, we should have given more focus to the Modzy team to, kind of own a little bit more of the episode.
Yeah.
But I also think that Rin was doing a good job of kind of illustrating to them where their weaknesses are as a team. And
Yeah.
while she may not have been correct in my opinion on the approach, I definitely applaud her for having that approach.
And it makes sense where she's coming from. Like they don't really paint her as being completely harsh because when you think about it, it's like she's saying, well, you guys are the children of Blagel, and Blagel literally gave his life to defeat Enma. So if he's willing to sacrifice himself, you should be willing to make other sacrifices as well, like sacrifice each other. Like it's almost like he got the wrong message from Blagel's actions. So like from hearts in the right place, it's just somewhat misguided, if it makes sense. But yeah, what do we want to give this one out of 10?
I feel like a 6 might be a little bit too harsh, but
Maybe 7?
yeah, I
Yeah, I was
guess.
gonna go to 7 for this as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's not terrible. I just think that a little bit of pacing could have gone a long way.
Yeah. But okay, let's move on to the final part of this three-parter. Stage 18, Uniting Powers, Maji, Guruma, Gi, Jinga. This is basically the final part of what can be referred to as the first phase of Maji Ranger, where Wolzard places a spell on Lunagel, threatening to kill her in a short amount of time, which will open up the Hades Gate. Bronkin breaks through. He overpowers the Magi Rangers and Magi King, and darkness begins to cover the world as he begins rampaging. The Magi Rangers are afraid at first. They're unsure if they can win, but Makito tells everyone that, our parents always dreamed of a world of peace and we can't give up on it. So we need to, keep fighting. Everyone gets back up. The Kai goes to sell Lunagel. The others use Magi Dragon to defeat Hades Beast Gargoyle. Then they try to hold off Bronkin. Kai is able to save Lunagel from being killed. He defeats Wolzard in a duel. Wolzard survives. and expresses admiration for Kai's growth. Then he retreats. Lunagel notes that because Wolzold fights with honor, there's no way he could be Rigel. So, who's Rigel? Well, don't worry, guys. We're going to find out who Rigel is soon enough in this very match. So keep your thoughts on that in the back of your head. Kai and Lunagel escape Wolzold's world with Barikion. Lunagel returns to Magitopia. So now that she's back in Magitopia, the Hades Gate is permanently sealed away and light is restored, which means that Bronkin is basically trapped in the surface world, but Inferja can no longer storm the surface world. Kai weakens him with Fire Kaiser. Then the Magirangers come together with Magi King, and with their courage having reached a new level, the Magirangers they unlock this new spell. And as a result of this spell, Miyuki's spirit appears. She's in her Magi mother form, and it enhances the power of Magi King. And with the power of their mother helping them, they defeat Bronkin once and for all. So Bronkin has been defeated. The Magi Rangers return home. They're briefly reunited with the spirit of Miyuki. Miyuki expresses her pride in her children, and the Magi Rangers have some newfound determination to keep fighting. They know that their mom is watching over them somewhere, and they're going to do their best to defeat Inferja. Of course, Inma is really frustrated that his general just got killed, and Wolzor takes up Bronkin's fallen sword. And yeah, that's how this three-parter and stage 18 ends. What do we think about this one?
That stupid horse needs to pick a side already. I said that in Magic. I said that when I was watching Mystic Force, and I'll say it here. That stupid horse needs to pick a side already.
Right.
I think this is a really good way to end what I guess is supposed to be the first arc of the series. Yeah. Really kind of sets the tone for what Infersh is all about. Like this had finale vibes, and I like that. It showed the threat that these guys have. But I love how they gave them access to their mother's ice magic. I felt that was a pretty nice touch to this because it was their first time interacting with the Heavenly Saint. The Heavenly Saints are who have been gifting them their powers, so the one that they know personally gave them a power that was personal to them. I thought there was something kind of symbolic about that. Really nice touch.
Yeah, and speaking of that moment where, like, that final battle with Bronkin overall was that was amazing. I mean, you have, like, the theme song playing from start to finish, and Magi Mother showing up to help them. That honestly felt a lot, because in Mystic Force, it's just Udana sees her snow staff, and she casts a spell to, like, briefly have her white mystic ranger assist them, but here it holds a lot more emotion because it's like it's literally their mom coming down to help them in their biggest moment of need. And this is after they made like a big speech about how we can't give up because we're trying to fight for this peace that our parents always dreamed of. Like it's just it's not handled as perfectly as you possibly could have asked for.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to badmouth the Mystic Force episode, because, like I said, that Mystic Force episode was great for Claire's development, but here the focus is still on the Magi Rangers, especially because they actually take a moment for Makito to give them like a big speech on how they can't give up, and the fact that they fought on even when they were in like their lowest point, that's them literally earning this magic. Like it. Unlike the Mystic Force episode where it was very much just Claire and the Rangers themselves were supporting characters, this did feel like it was mainly on the Magi Rangers. Now, granted, Kai probably got a little bit more focus than everybody else because he's the one who has to defeat Wolzard, but the other four guys didn't feel invisible in this episode. So, yeah, I mean, it's handled about as perfectly as you possibly could have.
Yeah. And I think going back to that point, that was always one of the complaints with Mystic Force, is that it really never felt like the core five got the main focus. That's like one of the universal complaints that people have with that season. And here they really went in on making sure like this felt like a family victory.
Yeah.
Like they told the saint that we're doing this for them. Their mother's in essence comes back and helps them out. Like this is, I think, where Magiranger shines is in episodes like this, where they really put the family dynamic and the meaning of it all on a pedestal.
Yep.
So this is like a 9 or a 10 to me.
Yeah. Because that part where like the theme song is playing and then you have the mom showing up to help her kids, like, not gonna lie, that got me super hyped, like on par with some of the other like big Sentai moments. Like that is a true like type of moment. Did you want to add anything, Riz?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's a strong end for a pretty good three-parter, in my opinion. I enjoyed, like, I think I mentioned a little bit of this before we got on the podcast to record, that I was kind of not super feeling this Sentai up until now. Like, the episodes before this, the first 15 episodes, like, they were good. I liked the characters, but they weren't really hooking me, and they were, I wouldn't say they were playing it safe. That's not fair to say, but
Yeah.
they weren't doing anything that really made me interested beyond like having decent characters, which that was my biggest takeaway, and that's sad for the entire season because, or the seasons that came before that we've watched, because yeah, these characters are good, but they're not like fantastically good, but they're still good enough to keep me interested. But yeah, just seeing them get some meat into story where we're seeing, you know, this fallen warrior or warrior from another time kind of coming in and playing a role. My only complaint is he should have stuck around longer.
Yeah.
Like 2-3 episodes and she's gone. Wow, like come on, guys. You could have done way more with that. Could have had her be a teacher. Because, you know, they kind of need a teacher because that damn plant ain't gonna do it.
Well, don't worry, that issue's about to be resolved.
Oh, I know. I'm building the prelude for what's to come next in episode 19.
Yeah.
But,
Foreshadowing.
but I'm just saying, if we had the teacher we have coming up along with this teacher, it could have been a lot stronger as a whole thing. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see how the new teacher is going to be before I make that judgment. But I personally think he could have had both of them be teaching.
And well, Anthony, first, did you want to say anything else about this episode?
Dominic Toretto says family is important. No, but all seriousness, it was a good episode, especially with all the with the main five getting to, I guess, see their mother again, even though it was like kind of like a silhouetted version of their mother. It was still nice that they were able to use her power, you know, like it's like a symbolic moment for them.
One thing I want to note is that this episode and the previous one, so basically 2/3 of his three-parter was written by Naruhisa Arakawa, aka one of those goat Sentai writers. So yeah, the best episode of Magiranger we've ever seen, and it's written by one of those writers. It's almost like he should have been the head writer of this Sentai all along. But that's none of my business, huh, Toei? But yeah, I'm gonna agree with Patrick. This is a 10. Like, I don't think it's even disputable.
I'm gonna go to 9.5.
I'm gonna give it a 9.
Cool. All right, now let's move on to stage 19 at the Magic Lamp, Meza Zazare. Kind of the beginning of a two-parter, although it's not as tight as the three-parter that we just got, so it's a bit flimsier this time. But we open this episode up with a flashback where we see Heavenly Saint Lunagel in his Heaven Saint form. He's battling a mysterious golden armored warrior. He's attempting to seal Rigel away for his betrayal while Rigel is declaring his loyalty to Enma. Then we cut to present day where Urara's fortune telling predicts that Inferja will make a move soon, and there's something extremely valuable that's going to appear to the Magirangers as a result. The Magirangers they chase Nye and Mare into this cave that they were attempting to infiltrate, and they find a mysterious magic lamp called the Magi lamp. And from the Magi lamp is a magical cat-like genie named Smokey. That's Genji's counterpart in Power Rangers Mystic Force, for all you Mystic Force fans out there. Um, and he's apparently allowed to grant one wish. The Magi Rangers make a wish for him to defeat Inferja, but apparently that's a really big task for him to accomplish. So he instead just decides to join forces with them. Now, also in the cave is this mummified body. Nye and Mare were apparently trying to get that out of the cave, and they bring it back to Enma. Enma revives the mummified body, and who is this body, you might ask? Well, this is Rigel, the heavenly saint that previously betrayed his friends and tried to kill Lunagel. Yep, he is here, and he is taking over as the new main general of Inferja. He is given a new mummy-like monster form, and because he's effectively been excommunicated by the Heaven Saints, he takes on a new name named Mimi. Mummy name. This was for those of you back home who are familiar with Stick Force. This was Imperious's counterpart. So basically, Rigel is his Calendor form, and Mimi is his Imperious form. And he becomes the new general of Inferja. The Magi Rangers have their first encounter with him for the first time. He easily overpowers them, but then Smokey intervenes and helps the Magi Rangers drive him off. Now, also in the cave is this mysterious frog, which scares Urara. The frog is watching over the Magi Rangers. And at the end of the episode, and Smokey is visibly afraid when Urara mentions of a light from the sun she saw in the crystal ball. What does all this mean? Well, that's what the next episode is for. But in the meantime, let's talk about what we think about Stage 19.
Okay, so refresh me. Was Imperious's origin story is the same?
I mean, it was a bit like they kind of discarded the whole thing of like him killing Claire's mother. Like it wasn't as tight as that, but the basic premise was still there that he was an ancient mystic that turned evil and joined the master.
Yeah. I feel like it works better here because they did loosely set it up with having him name dropped as a traitor earlier and acknowledging him as a heavenly saint when, like we said with the last batch of episodes, that we know that the heavenly saints are powerful. We know what they're capable of. Their title carries weight. So seeing an evil one and him just tossing them around like they're nothing, this is a good villain introduction episode.
Yep.
A very good villain introduction episode. Could he have named himself better though?
Yeah, that's a name that's difficult to take
like a play
seriously.
on words of mummy. He was gonna say mummy, but like I guess he was like, Mimi sounds cool. I guess I don't know.
No, he messed up.
Yeah. You screwed it.
Oh, his words, not mine. I'm just.
Yeah. When I heard Mimi, I was like, man, we're talking about memeing. He's a meme. I'll give him that.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely agree with Patrick because, and let's mention, I feel like they're giving Rigel a bit more personality here, where he was tempted by Enma because, like, they kind of say in a throwaway line that, like, Enma made a promise that, like, if you join me, I can give you the power to accomplish anything that you want. Okay, that's pretty typical, like, to the dark side type of stuff, but there's a bit more personality to it as opposed to Mystic Force, where Calendar, I guess, was just always evil, and that's why he became Imperious. Like, it's a bit more confusing with Imperious, and he
Mhm.
just seems like a typical like backstabber type of villain, as opposed to Rigel. You know what? I'm just going to keep calling him Rigel because that other name is just stupid. Um, yeah, it, there's more, not too much, but there's a bit more personality to him, if you get my
Oh
meaning.
no, like I mean, especially compared to Brian, who was just angry leader, angry evil leader A. Like there wasn't anything unique to
Evil
him.
gravelly voice.
Yeah,
As
no.
Linkar would
Oh
say.
yeah, oh yeah. Backtracking to him for a little bit, it was bothering me the whole season trying to figure out who his voice actor was because his voice sounded so familiar. That's Buson's voice actor who did Bronkin,
Really?
by the way.
Oh,
Yeah,
Lord.
that's what. That's why it sounded so familiar to me. But
Yeah,
yeah, Mimi here is a lot more. God damn, it sounds like I'm talking about a female. Mimi here he's a lot more suave. Like he's calm. He's not a brute.
yeah,
And he adds a whole new dynamic to the villain faction here. And a truth be told, after just 2 episodes, I like him better than Bronkin.
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah. The only other thing I want to mention here is that again, I hate bringing this stuff up because it sounds like I'm trying to badmouth Mystic Force, but I'm really not trying to do this. But I love how when the Magi Rangers are told by Smokey, I can grant you one wish, they don't even think about it. Their immediate wish is defeat Inferja, as opposed to the Mystic Force episode where Gingy says, I can grant you one wish, and it's like, okay, guys, you can think of any wish that you want. Like you could wish for Udana to get her snow staff back. You could wish for the Master's forces to be destroyed, but no, instead Xander just wishes for 100 more wishes. Like, and I'll cut them a little bit of slack because they're teenagers, so I don't expect them to be 100% mature in this situation. But I just like more how it's not even a debate for the Magi Rangers.
Yeah.
Because I like the fact that even though that wish wouldn't have worked, at least they tried. Because they were like, oh, that would have been too easy.
Yeah.
It also helps that up to this point, I really feel like the Infersh has been a much more intimidating villain faction than the Mystic Force Rangers villains.
Yeah.
Like I never felt that much of a threat factor from the Mystic Force villains.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not.
Outside of
Not even
Korak.
not even Necroli?
I don't know, Patrick. I know what you're trying to go for, but I
Like,
don't necessarily agree with that. I think
I mean,
both of them are kind of meh.
well, I mean, I'm talking about like the presence that they have over the season. I feel like these guys are much more intimidating, and the threat that they bring is a lot more. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a lot more heavy, especially because their mom's not here. Like Udana being there with the Mystic Force Rangers like the whole time, I feel like really brings a lot of the threat factor down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watching this is making me have that problem with Mystic Force now.
Well, I think so. I part agree with you that Udana did kind of baby them a bit, but I also think if they had Mystic Mother and Magi Ranger stick around, like, maybe an episode or two more, and done some teaching, and then she died, could have been a lot better.
Yeah.
Now it kind of makes me wonder what Mystic Force would have been like had. I'm not saying Udana would have been destroyed per se, because they wouldn't do that in like the first 2 episodes. I think she was captured longer than she was in the later part of the season.
Well, I feel like Nigel alone is kind of making them a bit more intimidating because this is the issue that I always had with Mystic Force in general. The mythology, and I can go into a little bit more detail later on, but it's like the mythology with Mystic Force just kind of became a little too convoluted kind of keep track of. And not only that, but
Mhm.
like by this point of the series, there was never any mention of the ancient mystics, so we don't know what Kalendor is, or what his power level is. So him turning out to just be this ancient mystic, it's like, okay, but what does that mean? Whilst here, we know how powerful the Heavenly Saints are, and now we're seeing that one of them has turned bad and has become the leading general of Inferja. Like that alone, just from an intimidation factor, just puts this above the Master's forces like several times.
Mhm.
Also,
Yeah,
I kind of like the nice touch that since Rigel is essentially like he kind of looked like a lightning bolt kind of character in his like saint form, and then when you see Subasa using his lightning against him, he made that look so like he just toying with him, like, oh look, my element, please,
Oh yeah, he
this is
did.
nothing.
He did have a throwaway line where it says, "You expect to hurt me with lightning." Like
yeah,
that
Yeah.
was that's a good catch. I didn't notice that.
Mhm.
yeah, because Rigel could be kind of like, I think
Raiden.
the word is like, yeah,
Yeah.
like for the word for thunder. So yeah, that's a nice touch.
Mhm.
I'm surprised you didn't notice
Um,
that.
yeah, I should have caught on to that subtle detail. um, But yeah, I think this was I think this was more of a setup for what's going to be happening in the next episode, but I still liked it. I mean, mostly the Rigel stuff I think is enough for me to probably give this an 8.
Yeah. I don't want to give it any higher than that, but an 8 is pretty
8 is fine. I'll
Yeah,
go with
eight,
an 8.
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, but eight.
Cool. All
Anthony, are
right,
you trying to say you ate well?
Ha 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 ha.
um all right, let's wrap this up with stage 20, Kiss Me Ribbit, Golu 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 Diro. This is the second part. Well, this pretty much follows up with the previous episode. It's our 6th Ranger debut. Uh, so first off, we get the debut. So while Bronkin was using Hades Beast, which are just standard grunt monsters that they're incapable of intelligent speech. Mimi uses Rigel uses Hades Beastmen. They're kind of similar to Hades Beast, but they're capable of intelligent speech. And Rigel's main goal is that he wants to actually revive Enma, and he wants to do that by capturing many humans as sacrifices. The Magirangers are battling the very first Hades Beastman, Garum the Gremlin, and they get helped by this mysterious light conjured by the frog from the cave. This prompts Hoka to adopt the frog as a pet. She names him Hikaru because of the light that he conjured. Hikaru means light in a Japanese. And Smokey is very afraid of this frog appearing. He's very intimidated. And Urara is constantly hearing the frog calling out to her, like she hears a voice from him, asking her to kiss him, but she's afraid of frogs since apparently one of the male Maji Rangers put one down her shirt as a child, so she's just completely intimidated by it. But then when they're battling Garum later on, Urara gets overpowered, but then Hikaru saves her. He jumps on the monster's face and basically stuns him for a little bit. And Urara is guilty over how she treated Hikaru, and out of gratitude, she grants Hikaru's request. She kisses him, and in true Frog Prince-like fashion, Hikaru transforms into a human form. And who is this human form, you might ask? It is none other than another heavenly saint, Sungel, the sun-based heaven saint. And we find out from a flashback that Sungel was battling Rigel. That was the flashback that we saw at the beginning of the previous episode. He turned Rigel into a mummy, and Rigel turned him into a frog, and they fell into the cave where Rigel sealed them away. And the only way that he could be revived from his frog form was by being kissed by the blue mage, which in this case was Urara. And we also find out that Sungel is Smokey's master. We'll find out more detail about that in a later episode, but that was why Smokey was so intimidated, because Sungel is his master.
Oh,
Um,
one more thing, Nate, before you continue.
Go ahead.
I actually want to bring up the fact that when Smokey was introducing them to his laser, his lamp could turn to a laser, right? And
Yeah,
Kai wanted to try to use it, like try to try to fire something out, right? And
yeah,
nothing came out of it. And then when you see MagiShine use it, it's like, wow, I couldn't even get off a single shot, and it didn't even it recoil when I used it. He used it like it was nothing.
yeah,
That shows that's a good way of showing the power levels between those two, their magic and stuff.
yeah. I was gonna get to that.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure
Yeah,
you
yeah,
brought it up.
no. That's cool. Yeah. So to kind of go off of what Anthony just said, Sunjel fights off Garum. He reveals his own armored form, Tinku Yusha form, Sky Warrior. This was the same golden armor form that we saw him use in the flashback. This is basically a golden armored version of Magiranger. He wields shining silver element, MagiShine. MagiShine, this was the Solaris Knight and a Power Rangers Mystic Force. He has a ticket puncher like grip phone henshin device, which he uses to punch tickets in order to transform. His weapon is the Magi Lamp Buster. It's a blaster form of the Magi Lamp. It can fire bullets by rubbing the sides of it. Like Anthony said, the main five Mystic Magi Rangers couldn't do that because it requires a lot of great magic. It can finish off enemies by shooting Smokey at enemies. Let me give you a fun fact here. In O Ranger, I pointed out how even though King Ranger was considered a Gold Ranger in Power Rangers, he was considered black in Sentai. Well, even though we had a Gold Ranger in Zeo for about 9 years, this is the first time that a Gold Sentai Ranger has appeared in Super Sentai history. So MagiShine is literally Sentai history. And yeah, this is the very first official Gold Sentai Ranger, the suit that we get to see in all of its glory. And it's now that we're seeing it for the first time in action, let's give our thoughts. What do we think about this suit?
I've never liked this costume.
Dang. All that
This,
build-up that Nathan did, and you just
yeah. I mean,
torpedoed it?
if like out of the ones in Power Rangers that were adapted into Power Rangers, this is probably my least favorite Sixth Ranger costume design. I've never liked this. It's too bulky looking for my liking. And
Oh, wow.
the feather on his helmet kind of like leaning to one side doesn't make the helmet look like it I don't know. It just doesn't look square, even on both sides. What's the word I'm looking for? Symmetrical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just some. It's just too plated for me. I've never been a fan of it.
Well, for
What
me,
about everybody else?
I mean, it's all right. Like,
I mean,
that's
it's
just
all
me.
right. Like,
Did you want to chime in with that, Riz?
Yeah.
Is that how you feel too?
No, that was just me helping Anthony out.
Thanks, buddy.
No, I mean it's not bad. It's just I'm not gonna say it's all right because it's boring now that Anthony's done it. But yeah,
I mean, I guess I'm in kind of a minority because I just always thought that it looked cool. Like I just liked like the gold armor on top of the spandex suit. But at the same time, I can see that like it's not for everyone, and I can understand why Patrick might be turned off because it does look kind of bulky. Like I guess to kind of put it like it doesn't look like a traditional ranger suit, so I can see what Patrick is saying.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, for me, if you're gonna ask me what's the best gold suit we've ever gotten, it'd probably be Zeo Gold, even though it's not a Sentai thing.
I'd probably say no. I like Go On Gold suit more than King Ranger.
Mm-mm. I still like this one better.
Okay, well, fair enough. Um, but okay, yeah. To to finish up summing up this episode, MagiShine, he defeats Garum. Mimi vows vengeance on Sungel, and Sungel gets taken home, and he decides that he wants to take on a new mentor role in the Magirangers. We'll see more details on that in the next batch. But he also formally takes on the name Hikaru that Hoka gave him. So, yep, we have a new Sixth Ranger, and he's a Heaven Saint, and he is also going to be a mentor for the Magirangers. So, yeah, what do we think about Stage 20?
Well, assuming he lasts more than like one episode, I hope he's a good teacher for the team.
Yeah,
'Cause they need help.
Yeah, I was about to say that his role, and honestly the way they even introduced him, he's already a better character than Daggeron ever was.
Yep. I was about to say that too.
Daggeron's introduction was one of the weakest Sixth Ranger introductions in the Power Rangers franchise, and his purpose on the team was never really needed because Udano was still there.
Yeah, exactly.
His introduction actually had a pretty good amount of build-up. Even if it wasn't directly tied to him, there was still some build-up to him. And his role on this team is desperately needed. So I like this. I mean, it's still a pretty standard Sixth Ranger introduction when you really think about it. Like, Jeremy's introduction is still kind of unmatched, but
yeah,
for like just Sentai standards, I think this is like a pretty high-end Sixth Ranger introduction just because of like the impact that it'll probably end up having going forward.
Yeah,
because I think I said this, was it with the Wings, that the best Sixth Rangers are the ones that alter the course of what the season is supposed to do, and this guy feels like he's going to fit that role perfectly. So
we will hope.
I mean, I would hope so. I mean, he's not fitting. He's a teammate role. He's fitting he's a mentor role. So I hope he impacts the season.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like they're off to a good start too, because with the way that like they literally debut his Ranger form, like fighting Rigel, like the buildup is there because it's like they're kind of already establishing that he kind of has a personal rivalry with the main general. And it actually feels earned this time, as opposed to the whole thing with Daggeron and Imperius, where literally it's just there because the Sentai footage needs it to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just feels a lot more earned. And not only that, but I mean, this is another case where, like, the fact that they've established how great the Heavenly Saints are, as far as their powers are, this is where, the show once again heavily benefits from it, because, okay, the Inversion now has a Heavenly Saint that went bad and has joined them. Well, thankfully for the Magirangers, now here's another Heavenly Saint that's come, and he's joined you, and he's going to be acting as your effective mentor now. Like, it's starting to like set the stage for some pretty great stuff to happen for the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of like a balance now, because like, oh no, like the enemy has a Heavenly Saint, and so do we now.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, the Empire has the Dark Lord of the Sith, Emperor Palpatine, ruling over, but don't worry, because Luke has Yoda, the greatest Jedi Master that ever lived, teaching how to properly fight against it. The more I think about it, so yeah, pretty good, evenly matched stuff there.
Yeah,
And not only that, but I honestly do kind of like how this is what I was talking about with one of the issues that I have with Daggeron, and I can go into a bit more detail with it when we do, because we've only seen Hikaru one episode, so we don't have to do a tier ranking for him at the end of this one. We'll do it at the end of the next one when we've seen a little bit more of him. But I really like how Hikaru is a little older than the Magirangers, but not by much. Like, you can definitely tell that, like, this is a guy who was a bit more of a younger Heaven Saint, so there can be a bit more of like he's like an older brother to all of them dynamic, but he's not old enough to where it gets kind of creepy. Because one of my problems with Daggeron was that he's a bit older than the other Mystic Rangers, so he doesn't really get to feel like a true Sixth Ranger, because well, first of all, he never interacts with them outside of the mystic world. So
Yeah.
here, I don't know, it just feels like there's more room for there to be chemistry there because
Mhm.
you have like this 40-something-year-old man hanging out with a bunch of teenagers, which
Yeah.
I think he's the teacher, so I'm not saying it's creepy, but it just doesn't work in much. Um, but yeah, I think that this one, I'm thinking like an 8 for this one as well.
Um, I want to go with a 9.
Yeah, that's what I was going
I
to go
would go at
to.
9 as well.
Cool. Yeah, that wraps up this batch. I do have one thing I want to say before we wrap up here, but before I say anything else, does anybody have anything that they want to chime in with?
Nay.
Cool. In that case, I feel like now that we've seen a little bit more of like the stuff with the Heaven Saints and you know, all of this, especially with how the villains are being shaken up, I feel this is a good time for me to say this now. I can't believe that I didn't really see this when I first saw Magiranger, but I feel very comfortable saying this. If Magiranger continues to stick the landing with this, I have a feeling that Magiranger can be what Geki Ranger could have been because you have all this mythology with like these evil, with like this greater thing with magic, and you have like these and you have like the equivalent, like the Heaven Saints or like the Fifth Sages, where you have this greater mythology with them, and then you have one that's gone bad and become the main villain in the same way that you had those three evil Fifth Sages that went bad in Geki Ranger. But it's working good because there you have that mythology there, but you're not losing focus of the Magi Rangers themselves. And the Magi Rangers are all incredibly likable characters. And on top of that, I mean, you have like kind of a young and hot-headed, not always necessarily the brightest guy, but is still overly noble. Like Pi is a much better version of John. Now, granted, that's not a perfect analogy there,
That's a
but
terrible analogy because they're not that similar at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like more that like they're both a little childish, but
No. Where do you see childishness with Kai? I see somebody who's learning and trying to be a leader for his family. I mean, yeah, he's if you're going to see his childish, yeah, he's got siblings on a team. He's going to be childish with them because that's how siblings interact, from what I'm told.
okay,
So
yeah,
I
I see
think
what you're
that's
saying. Maybe the Kai and John stuff isn't the
no,
best
that's
thing,
a
but the
that's not.
stuff with the Fifth Sages and the Heaven Saints and the mythologies regarding like Jukin and magic, I think is still
Oh yeah, no, that's spot on.
pretty.
But I think when you try
Yeah,
to compare these two together, that's a very unfair comparison.
yeah.
Nate, you know that not be saying that because you know how Risk is.
I know, I
Well,
know.
no, I mean, I'm trying to explain that. Hey, there's a time and a place to compare John to other characters. I think there's
Yep.
a place where we can do it. However, in this case, not to bash anyone, John included, I don't see the similarities here in that
Yeah,
John was being immature and childish because he knows nothing else than being that because he grew up in a panda village and he's a freaking idiot.
yeah,
But when it comes to Kai, he's being a little bit young and dumb because, again, he's with his older brothers and sisters and they all treat him like he's a child. And so, of course, he'll have an element of being a child because they're putting in his mind and expecting him to be a child, even though he's becoming the leader of the team.
yep,
And it also might be a bit of a coping mechanism because he did see his mom die before his eyes.
yeah.
Patrick can talk about it more if he wants to.
About what?
Oh, Kai having, a bit more of a childish streak, quote unquote, because he saw his mom die before his eyes.
Yeah.
Coping mechanism and all that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have much to say on that, to be honest. You kind of hit it on the head a little bit. I don't really see him as childish. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Okay,
more
but-
of he acts before he thinks more. So that's not a childish trait per se, but
It's just impulsive. And
yeah, impulsive. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
But I mean, and that's the thing. Impulsiveness does not necessitate to John's childishness. It just means he's a little bit more hot-headed and quick on his feet.
Yeah.
But unlike some of the other hot-headed reds we've seen across Ranger and Sentai, he's not a bad offender of it.
No.
Yep.
Like, he's way better than Takahara.
Yeah. But I still stand by that, like, with Geki Ranger, it was ultimately like a style over substance thing, with the style kind of getting to me. But with Magi Ranger, the style is definitely there, with the Rangers being part of like this greater mythology and everything. But there's also a lot of substance there because we have likable characters, we have this family dynamic that really makes it stand out, and the characters are all likable. So yeah, I mean, I still stand by, but like if Magi Ranger can stick the landing with its second half, like we could perfectly say that like Magi Ranger is everything that Geki Ranger should have been. um I mean, you agree with that, didn't you, Riz?
What part are you asking for? Because I think if you're saying that the idea of the Jukin being similar to some of this like heavenly whatever,
that part.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think that's where it starts and ends, is right there.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I was probably overthinking it a bit with the Kai and John stuff, but I'll still stand by with the Jukin and Magic thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that wraps up this fourth batch for Magi Ranger. When we next visit Magi Ranger, we'll be taking a look at stages 21 through 25, and at that point we'll be at the midway point. So we're going to be doing our updated tier rankings for the main 5 Magi Rangers, as well as giving our opening tier ranking to Hikaru, since we'll have seen 5 additional episodes, just to get a basic gauge on who he is as a character. So definitely look forward to that. We're hoping to get finished with Magi Ranger very soon. After we record the next one, we still have 6 more Magi Ranger episodes to go. We're definitely looking forward to doing that, and we're of course going to continue our coverage of Kamen Rider Zest and Go Juger. So definitely look forward to all of that. We got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of amazing stuff planned for you guys as we continue on into the fourth quarter of 2025. We hope you guys will join us for all of that. But until then, bye for now. If you enjoyed listening to the Toku Secrets Podcast, please check us out at animesecrets.org and follow us on all our social media pages such as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And also feel free to check out our other podcasts, including Anime Declassified and the Jedi Squadron. You can also leave us any feedback you'd like to offer us directly on our website. If you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, we thank you so much, and please leave us a rating out of 5 stars. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel if you're not already subscribed, and leave any comments down below, as we love to take the time to read comments left on our channel and give our fans, shout-outs. If you have any seasons of Super Sentai, Power Rangers, or other tokusatsu shows that you'd like for us to check out, please don't hesitate to say so in your feedback. With all that said, we thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our podcast, and we will see you next time as we continue our never-ending journey through the world of tokusatsu. But until that time, you all stay safe, we love you, and may the power protect you.